Cindy from Pines Presbyterian Church in Houston.
And I'm Pastor Emily in First Presbyterian Church in Bryan.
We have an incredible story for you today. This man went from super villain to super missionary. Take it away, Pastor Emily.
Let's go! Friends, here is the story of Paul, an amazing man who went from supervillain to super missionary. So, Paul was an ordinary guy, although he had a love for the Pharisees and the Jewish temple, which meant that he didn't really like that Jesus was coming along and messing everything up with his new gospel. So, Paul was one of those people that enjoyed watching Jesus and his followers be diminished, be made to be put down. In fact, Paul was a bit of a bully. See, one of Jesus' apostles named Stephen happened to be in the same place as Paul one day. And Stephen was preaching the good word on the street corner, saying, I have good news. God has come to save us. God is love. And God is loving us through this man, Jesus. And he was preaching about how Jesus had done all these amazing things. And Paul was watching. And suddenly an angry mob who didn't like what Stephen was saying started taking big old rocks and throwing them at Stephen. And Stephen was getting hit. And they were killing him. And Paul smiled. He liked that. Isn't that horrible? Well, Paul was an enforcer. He would go house to house, making sure that any Christians there were rooted out, even jailed and killed sometimes. And one day, as he was on his way to a little city called Damascus to continue doing this, he got knocked down to the ground and there was a blinding light. And he saw Jesus there in the light. And Jesus said, Paul, dude, it's me. And Paul was like, who? Who is this? This is so weird. What's going on? Why is it so bright and blinding? And Jesus said, Paul, it's Jesus. It's Jesus, and I am the good news. It's true. Everything that you heard is true. And Paul goes, no way. So I was wrong? Jesus said, yes, you were wrong. But that's okay. Because now you can go out and you can make it right. And then Jesus went away, and Paul couldn't see anymore because of that blinding light. It actually blinded him. So he gets back up, and he knows what he has to do now. He has to go out, and he has to share the good news. Now don't worry, Paul was forgiven for his past. And when he got to Damascus, another disciple of Jesus came to him. And through Jesus' love and power, he healed Paul so that Paul could see again. And Paul went on to do amazing, amazing ministry. In fact, there's all these sections of the Bible that are named for Paul's letters that he wrote to different churches. Paul spread the word so far and so wide that without Paul, there might not even be Christians today. That is the power of Jesus' good news for us. Isn't that awesome? Pastor Cindy, can you talk to us a little bit more about this?
What a dude! Lying, cheating, stealing, screaming at people in anger, hating God. Wow. Paul kind of had a rough go, right? Well, let's think about some of the worst things we've done. Not so great either, right? Maybe we haven't done all the things that Paul did, but even on our worst day, the worst thing that we've done and we need forgiveness for, God can work through that. Because if God can work through a man like Paul, who hated him, God can work through us too. It's our job to open our hearts and our lives to Jesus and God's love. And when we do that, we are transformed. We become a living, breathing representation of God here on earth. And if God can do that through Paul, then God can definitely do that through us. So it's our job to have faith, to believe, and to let God's transformation take our life to new levels.
Wow, Paul was quite the character. I mean, going from supervillain to super missionary, he had to go through a lot of change in his heart. I hope we all remember to go out into this world with open hearts so that God can work in us too, just like he did with Paul. Cindy, did you enjoy this story?
Very much.
It was so good. Well, we certainly hope that you all enjoyed it too, and we will see you again in 2 days. Now remember, go out into the world and be brave.
Be strong.
And save this world with love. Goodbye.
Bye.